Hello, I'm John Fisher. I'm going to talk to you about the group problem solving process that I use in teaching fundamentals of oral communication and interviewing. The group problem solving process is a six-step process. The first step to define and analyze the problem, then establish the criteria for evaluating solutions, identify possible solutions. 4, evaluate the solutions. 5, select the best solutions, and finally develop an implementation plan and test the solutions. The first step then, define and analyze the problem. There are three things that I ask that I've found that are important in doing this. One is to state the problem in general terms, indicate what the objectives are that are not being met because of the problem, and give reasons why these objectives are not being met. For example, if the problem were wasting recyclable drinking containers, a general statement would be more drinking containers end up in the garbage and cans than are recycled. Objectives not being met would be to reduce the amount of waste in our landfill sites and to save our natural resources, to build and improve our economy. Reasons the objectives are not being met are people don't care, or there's little incentive for recycling. The next step, the second step, is to establish the criteria for evaluating solutions. What conditions must be met for the problem to be solved, and which of these conditions are essential and which are only desirable? State these conditions as objectives. Here are some examples for this recycled situation. To reduce the amount of waste and increase recycling, to increase awareness of the need for recycling, to provide incentives for recycling, and to recycle without significant cost to government or to consumers. The third step is to identify possible solutions. Brainstorm as many solutions as possible and list the solutions for a later evaluation. Build off each other's solutions. For example, here are some possible alternatives or solutions. Government could sponsor education programs and advertise. Consumers could be penalized, and collection fees could be set up for more trash than what would be normal. Encourage a blue box program by providing blue boxes in the community, and charge a deposit or a fee on drink containers. The next step, step number 4, is to evaluate the solutions. I use a table or a matrix to evaluate the solutions. I list the alternatives across the left side and the objectives across the top. I prioritize the objectives, and then I use notations, symbols, or numbers, yes or no, to show how each alternative meets or does not meet the objectives. For example, in evaluating the solutions for recycling, the objectives are to avoid waste and to recycle, increase awareness, provide incentives, and there be no big cost for government or consumers. The alternatives listed on the left-hand side are education, garbage pickup fees, a blue box, or charge a deposit. If we're looking at education, how does it relate to, does it help to decrease waste and recycle? Probably. You could write yes, maybe there. Increase awareness? Yes. Does it provide incentives? Probably not. Okay, is there a big cost? Well, you could actually put a dollar figure in here, and probably with education the cost might be fairly hefty. You do this for each one of the alternatives then. The next step is to select the best solutions. Examine each alternative to see which best meets the objectives and which alternatives best meet the objectives. State which of the alternatives best meet the objectives. Indicate reasons for accepting alternatives and state reasons for rejecting alternatives. Then indicate how it matches your initial intuitive sense of which is the best solution. So in selecting the best solution, looking at the matrix, which alternatives best met this criteria, maybe education and blue box. Which are the worst in meeting those? Well, the other two. How does this fit your intuitive sense? And make a statement as to how this fits your intuitive sense for the best solution. Finally, establish a plan and test for effectiveness. List the steps that need to be accomplished, assign individuals, and set deadlines. Here's a table that you could use for doing that, an implementation checklist with the task, the name of the person, and the deadline established.